БЙБ.
What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in on today's video. I'm your host Gabe, and today we're gonna take a look at the 2019 Mercedes AMG E53. I'm very excited to get behind the wheel of yet another AMG performance cabriolet. Unlike the last one that I did, which was an AMG C63S, this one actually belongs to the E-Class family, and it's actually the direct successor to the very short-lived E43 trim. And this is actually preceded by the almighty E63. The E53 Cabriolet actually started MSRP at $81,000, but as options start to pile up with this car, and they get pretty expensive with Mercedes, $100,000 is not all that rare for cars like these to be spec'd out. At the heart of this 2019 E53, you will find a 3-liter turbocharged inline-6 engine, unlike its older and much powerful brother, the bi-turbo V8. Before we continue, let's go ahead and get a little exhaust clip of that 3-liter turbocharged inline-6 engine. Sounds really good. Now that turbocharged inline-6 pushes a surprising 429 crank horsepower and about 384 foot-pound-feet of torque. Now that's pretty impressive even in today's standards from a turbocharged 6-cylinder engine. Now weighing in at about 4,600 pounds, and of course armed with a reliable all-wheel drive system, a very lightning fast 9-speed automatic transmission, and now introducing the EQ Boost alternator starter that is lodged in between the transmission and the engine. This car does a 0 to 60 time in about 4.4 seconds, which is extremely impressive. It definitely does raise a brow or two considering this car's weight and of course the engine capacity. To not get into too many details, that EQ booster is really designed to do one thing, and that's to be as efficient as possible with the turbo force induction, which means that all forms of turbo lag is supposed to be eliminated. And of course, I'm very excited to see how that plays out when we start to drive this car. Now, unfortunately, one of the downsides of this car from the factory is that it does only reach about 130 miles per hour. Not that you're supposed to be going past that speed limit, but it does kind of suck that it's limited to that. And it's, you know, it's advertised as an AMG product. Now, regarding the MPG on the E53 AMG, it's going to be about 20 city and about 26 highway. Now that we've talked a little bit about the performance characteristics of this car, I really want to get into the exterior design of this car. And truth be told, there's not much differences between the E450 and the E53. I mean, it's a very subtle, and to the untrained eye, it may not be even detectable. Just because that's the case doesn't mean that this is not a very good looking and attractive car. I mean, this car is absolutely stunning, and I'm very excited to see if there's any reactions or anybody looking over and giving me the thumbs up, because again, this is a very good looking car. Now, up front, we do have the iconic Mercedes-Benz grille design that is of course extremely practical and functional, but of course very stylish as well. And of course on the sides, you do have the very stylish new headlight design with the 2 LED strips that just make this car so much more elegant looking. I'm also a very big fan of the 3-piece grille design. Unfortunately, it's not like actual mesh, but nonetheless, it does add that aggressive sportiness. As we move further along the sides, we will see that this car again has a very sleek look because of that cabriolet design. On the sides, you do see that it has that 5-spoke wheel design. I think it looks so nice. The fact that it kind of color contrasts with this black exterior paint color, and of course they are hiding up front the massive AMG brakes, but they just look so aggressive. And of course the overall profile of the car just looks very sleek and elegant. If you stand on different angles of the car, you will see that this car does not have a lot of fender flares and just a lot of thickness added to it like you will see on the E63. This is more of kind of like a gentle, softer, more of an elegant type of look, not really like a big muscular type of car, and that's okay, but the car still looks very good. Now as we move to the rear of the car, that is where we will see most of this sporty AMG characteristics in my opinion. I absolutely love how the transition position of the tail lights is done. I love it how it kind of like starts to round into the rear, kind of like a nice cursive design. My favorite part of this car has to be the lower part of the rear section, which is basically the quad exhaust tips that I think just looks so much nicer than square tipped exhaust. That's just a personal favorite. I mean, it looks very, very elegant. I will say that the diffuser in the chrome piece finish is very nice because it does outline it, kind of like telling people that, no, yes, we do have a diffuser. It's not as aggressive, but it's there. All right, guys, so now that we've talked a little bit about the performance characteristics and the exterior characteristics of this car, let's take a step inside of the E53 AMG. The entire interior design of this Mercedes is just a testament of the superiority when it comes to interior design by Mercedes. I really just don't know where to start off, but I think I'll start off with the steering wheel. I think the steering wheel is kind of like the testament to the AMG name. You know, it is wearing the AMG badge, and we got to have some sport characteristics, and this steering wheel with the flat bottom does exactly that. Of course, the paddle shifters, very nice metallic clicky sound. It's not like the cheapy plastic type of things that you'll get on other sub models. Of course, the chrome finish pieces is just absolutely exquisite. Now, as we look behind the steering wheel, we will now see that it has this extremely long screen that actually is divided into two different things. You have the speedometer, tachometer, all of the different meters that you need when you're driving right directly in front of you. You do have the continuation, and I love how there's no separation in between the screens. It's just like all one big thing. It flows perfectly, and it's just a beautiful, very futuristic design. Unfortunately, it is not touch screens. You will have to interact with it with the center console dial here, which is not anything new. Now, the infotainment system, again, I'm not going to get into too much details, but it's extremely responsive. I love the dial, how it sounds and how it feels. It all interacts very well. The buttons have a very nice feel to it. The center console in itself is also extremely beautiful. I love the wood finish trim, and of course all of the chrome finished air vents and the pieces. Everything here just looks so immaculate and so well done. And of course, none of that stops there. The wood trim is seen on the side of the doors as well. Of course, the chrome finish seat adjustments is everywhere. This is really, really impressive stuff here, and I really like it because, again, this is an $81,000 starting price. And now, of course, we can't finish talking about the interior without mentioning these seats here. They're extremely comfortable. I really like the styling of it. The holsters are pretty tight. I'm not a very wide person, so these are actually not very tight with me, but I do see that when you're cornering, these holsters will be there to guide you and to support you. They're extremely comfortable, and of course they're very, very flexible and agile, and there's so many things that you can do with the option. Now, storage in the back is like any cabriolet. You know, it's not necessarily the most efficient. Of course, if you want more storage, you might as well get a sedan. But the seats in the back, because this is an E-Class, which is a lot longer than the C-Class, it does call for a lot more space, and it is a lot more comfortable, I will admit that, than the C-Class. Those were just basically non-usable. The E-Classes is a lot more forgiving and a lot more welcoming to passengers. All right, guys, so now that we've finished talking about the performance characteristics, the exterior and interior characteristics, I think now would be the appropriate time to get this car on the road. Let's go ahead and take the top off, and let's get this car moving. All right, guys, so like most contemporary sports cars and pretty much normal cars, you do have a set of different driving modes. Of course, you have the eco mode, the comfort mode, sport, and then sport plus. For the purpose of entertainment, we're going to be using the Sport Plus modes. Of course, we're going to have a stiffened suspension, sharper steering. We're also going to have a lot more of a bombastic exhaust note to it as the valves will open. All right, guys, so let's do our first pull of the day. Ooh! Beautiful backfire exhaust note, man. Awesome. Yeah, this is so fun, guys. I love performance cabriolets, man. This is just so nice. I love how beautiful this day is and how beautiful this car is and how everything just ties together. First impressions is like the C63 that I drove. It's very comfortable to drive. You do have, of course, a paddle shifter, so let's do a little downshift. you get some nice feedback from the exhaust. Very, very quick. Here in Florida, we don't really have a lot of twists and turns like you'll have in other parts of the States or other parts of the world. So I can't really compare some of those areas, but I do have to admit that even when this car is being pushed under slight turns, it is very planted. Yep. The braking is extremely good. There was a car in front of me and I had to kind of deviate it a little bit, but of course they're not as powerful as the C63s. So there's a bunch of girls in the car next to me and they're all saying hi. There you go, they're honking the horn. Woo! Damn! Did I pop a tire? I hope not. It just sounds amazing. I love how the inline-6 engine just sings. Now in the downtown area, you do have a lot of potholes and some imperfections in the road, which is kind of ironic, but nonetheless, we're seeing that this car handles extraordinarily well. Just driving this car pretty conservatively on the most aggressive suspension setting, it's not going to be busting your back or anything like that. And that's what I like about Mercedes. You know what's really good about this car is that it's not extremely quick where you feel like you're actually going to lose control. I mean, it does a really good job. You really do feel like you're in control. Oh my gosh, this thing just pulls, man. I just can't. I'm sorry if this sounds very repetitive, guys. Just accelerate, laugh, accelerate, downshift, laugh. So let's tone it down just a little bit, guys. The good thing about this car is that you don't really have to go really, really fast to enjoy it. That's one of the good things about Mercedes, and of course a convertible Mercedes. I'm a little bit disappointed with the EQ boost. I mean, I feel like there's still a little bit of lag. It's not as bad as the C63. I do have to admit that there was a lot of more lag on that car than there was on this. But of course, once the lag was eliminated and once it picked up, that car was gone. This car is not nearly as fast. But it does have a very healthy pull. Yeah. When you're actually not redlining the car, the shifts are extremely accurate and they are very quick. I do have to admit that that 9-speed automatic transmission is pretty immaculate. All right, so we're coming up on a little turn here. I want to really show you guys under high pressure how it handles. Really do feel in control with this car. I can't emphasize that enough. Of course, you get a little backfire here and then. All right, guys, so that is pretty much the end of the driving portion of this review. So now we're gonna go ahead and conclude the review on the 2019 E53 AMG Mercedes-Benz. What a pleasant experience yet again to get behind the wheel of yet another performance AMG Cabriolet. Even though it's missing 160 horsepower from the last car that I drove, which was the C63S, I can't even imagine what this will compare to with the E63, but it was still a very enjoyable car, and I can understand why the owner of this car really enjoys this car. If you guys found this video informative and entertaining, go ahead and like this video as well. Get this at the top of the list for anybody that wants to find out what the E53 AMG is like. Also, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The goal for this year is 5,000 subscribers. We're already at 3,000, guys. I think it's very doable, but I need your help. What did you guys think of the video? What did you think of the E53? Let me know in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will catch you next time.